I'm in the Federal Witness Protection Program.
Everybody give us a wave. Woohoo! Okay. Well, I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. I'm Caroline Bowers, and I'll introduce, oh my gosh, my puppies in just a second. I work with our student groups at the General Alumni Association, and I'm so excited you're here to hang out with us tonight. To our GAA members, you make events like this possible. So we actually have a lot of fun virtual events, and Holden's like, yeah, we do. Coming up. If you'd like to participate, just to let you know, we do have 2 virtual trivia nights planned on August 19th and the 20th. And we have a coffee chat on how to stay visible while working remotely on actually this coming Wednesday. If you're not a GAA member and you would like to join, you can join at, and I will put this in here, alumni.unc.edu/join. Okay, I just put that in the chat. But we're so glad that you're here, and it's going to be a fun night. So, obviously, one reason why we're here is to meet awesome Tar Heel puppies. So, after we go around and have some screen time with our favorite Tar Heel pups, we'll also hear from Meghan with All Dogs Allowed to give us some tools to combat separation anxiety in our pets once we are able to leave our houses a bit more than we currently do. But first, I'd love to go around and have you introduce your pets. I'll call on you, which thank you for putting your names in there. And you can say where you're joining us from, your dog's name, their favorite trick if you'd like, and a fun fact about your dog. So I can go first. So again, my name's Caroline, and that is Holden, and that is Sophie. We are joining y'all from Mebane, North Carolina, so a little bit outside of Chapel Hill. Sophie's favorite trick, she really likes to shake, and Holden loves to spin. If I go like this, he spins in a circle. It's very cute. And a fun fact for both of them, Sophie smiles when she gets really happy, and her little jowl, it's so cute. And she starts squinting. And Holden is a registered therapy dog. So, okay, let's go. Jen Chandler.
Okay, hi, I'm Jen Chandler, class of 2012, and I live in Apex, North Carolina. And this is my puppy, Roy. He's named after Roy Williams, of course. And I adopted him in December because he was a foster dog with Peak Lab Rescue here in Apex. And my cousin was his foster mom and brought him to my family's Christmas event. And I fell in love and literally didn't put him down the whole night. And so he's been with me since December, and he's almost a year old. And he's biting my hand. I guess that's his favorite trick. He also knows shake. We'll see if he'll do it. Roy, will you sit? Sit, shake. Well, sort of. But he's a little sweetie, and we love him so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. And it's very nice to meet you, Roy.
Say hi, Caroline.
Awesome. Robbie and Lola, I see y'all next, and I think you have another one, too. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is Lola and Bitsy, and they're very close in age and very close to each other. Okay, and they're very good friends. Bitsy's favorite game is Keep Away, and Lola's is Tug of War. And they're both they very much like the beach. Okay, that's a little nasty looking. And we are in Charlotte. And it's my husband also.
Hello.
And yeah, they're usually kind of asleep this time of the evening, but you can see that they're showing off for you, I guess, a little bit.
It's too cute.
Oh, well, thank you. It's so nice to meet y'all. Some zoomies going on here. Okay,
He's going around and around.
Yeah, we'll just keep carrying on. Whitney and Sophie, hey y'all.
Hi. So I'm Whitney Kahn, class of 2000, and this is Sophie. And she is about 2.5 years old and golden retriever. And yes, I brought her to her first event when she was only about, because it was in May-ish or somewhere around April and May.
April,
And
yeah.
I had to make sure that she had all of her shots because I had just gotten her in March. And so she was really little. And
Hilda, I'm on 2 different Zooms right now.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Hold on, I'm gonna put John on.
Okay, so we are in Durham, North Carolina, and I would say my favorite trick of hers is, let's see if she'll do it for some popcorn. Say, Sophie, go heels.
That's awesome.
Instead of shaking, she does go heels, and she gives a high five. So, so that's probably my favorite trick. And then she is a very stubborn dog, and only does what she wants. So she has a tendency to go and onto people's porches and hang out near her friends' houses and just wait for them to come out, whether they're kids or that there's dogs that live there. And she kind of does this, I'm refusing to go anywhere but sit here and just wait. So that's very cute. And I guess that's about it. I don't know what else you want to know.
Well, it's so good to see y'all again. That's awesome. She's so sweet. Awesome. Terry and Skylar.
This is Skylar. Skylar's a rescue. She's now 9 years old. I got her at 1.5 years. And she is a fabulous pooch, except she has a few trigger points. Don't know what happened to her first year, but she's terrified of big dogs. And if anybody's riding a bike towards her or a motorcycle, she totally loses it. And she's a Houdini. She can get out of any harness I've ever put her in. And jump over any fence. We have a fenced-in yard, and she can go right over it if she wants to. Right?
Yes, thank you so much.
If you need somebody to get her used to big dogs, Sophie's the one to do it. She loves small dogs, and she will like roll over and just be on her back while they're discovering her. So let me know.
You might like that.
That's the golden one.
That's so sweet. Awesome. The next, I see Ronald, and remind me your name.
Gloria.
Gloria, that's right. Okay, yeah. So who do we have with
That's
y'all?
good. You're on deck. That's good.
Yeah, I'll put it so you could see them. We'll bring them down. Bring it down a little bit.
Oh.
So here is Astro.
No.
And then this is Elroy. And then
You see him?
Gloria. And then
Oh, wait a minute.
Bonnie's holding the computer.
Oh, we had it good.
Here, I can- you got
Yeah.
it.
Put the dogs on.
So Astro, he is just 3.
He does exam pause at UNC every year.
Oh, cool.
Therapy exam pause. So he goes to when you guys have exams. He's a therapy dog for you guys. A pet therapy, and he's really sweet. We started dancing this year together. So we came in silver on our dancing, right, Ronnie?
Mhm.
Yeah, silver.
You gonna
Yeah, that
dance
was for a
us?
rescue. For saving,
Dance for us?
that was Saving Grace Rescue. Yeah, dance for him. Show him a few routines.
Here, Astro. You ready? Let's see. I'm gonna get my cookie because we're still kind of learning.
That's
But,
good.
so we have to say Astro's turn because
Come here,
Elroy's
Elroy.
jealous.
Come here. Come here.
Okay, ready? The spin. All right, we go through the legs, right through, and then through.
She does this to the 1966 hit, The Monkees. I'm going to buy me a dog. It was really cute.
Spin.
That is so awesome.
It was really cute.
And then
Elroy does cookie on the nose.
He does cookie on the nose. So he does agility. He loves agility. And then he'll do this really fun trick called cookie on the nose. So we hold the cookie on his nose. We say, hold it, leave it, wait. Okay. And usually he'll
Well,
catch it in the air, but I don't have the right kind of cookie.
but the
I
trick,
do one of those little milk bones.
The trick is that they really hold it.
Yeah, but he will. He'll hold it right on his nose and he'll leave it. Leave it. Okay. Oh, he got it that time.
Yeah, he's a show off.
So, Astro loves to play frisbee. He's a frisbee king and ball. And Elroy loves chuck it. Those are his favorite things.
And she's 80,
Oh, I
Seven.
graduated in 87. He graduated in 88.
88.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's so nice to meet y'all. And I'm going to need to learn some of those dance moves.
It's
Yeah.
really cute.
It is
That's
fun.
super cute.
Fun.
Great. Okay. Well, Alexa and Ollie.
Hi, I'm Alexa. This is Ollie. We're joining from Raleigh.
Cute dog.
I'm in April from Saving Grace, so he is a quarantine rescue.
We know Mom.
He is 8 years old, so he is also a grumpy old man. His favorite trick, I would say, is to beg, although I didn't teach him that. He just automatically does that when there's food. So, he has one floppy ear and one pointy ear.
Look at those monkeys.
That's my fun fact about him.
That's so awesome.
He always wears a bow tie, so.
Oh, that's so
I've known
sweet.
Molly about 15 years.
Really? Yeah, I've done like some host weekends with them before, and then I finally just decided to like take to London, like get a dog. So, but I really like Grace.
It's a good looking dog.
So cute.
You get to
Thank
see her.
you.
Good to see her.
We're so glad to have you.
Cute dog.
Kathy and Mary Truitt.
Hey, how are y'all doing? Mary Truitt is, I'm Kathy Harris, class of 2010. I was a non-traditional student. I started my college studies in 1985. I got the degree in 2010. And I worked at UNC since 1992. And I'm now Director of Medical Alumni Affairs there. And Mary Truitt is 9 years old. And here she is. She said she wore her Carolina outfit to the last bar at the sound, so she wanted to wear her summer dress. Summer dress. She said she knows it has red, and she said she knows that's a no-no, but she is sporting her Carolina collar that she's been wearing since she was a baby.
Aww.
And she recently got one of these, one of those no sound name tags because she's a low rider. And so she's a dachshund. And so she doesn't like it hitting it. So this hits it, it doesn't make any noise. It's like silicone. But let's turn her around. She's very spoiled, as her name is. And she loves that her mama's home because now she goes for 2 walks a day. And she loves turkey. Turkey. That's her snack. And she likes to go for walks and eat turkey.
Oh, she likes turkey.
Where's the turkey? Where's the turkey? But she's a sweet, sweet girl. And she chases all the UPS men and FedEx men, women, drivers down the road, especially those that come and ring her doorbell. She scares them away.
Good.
That's awesome. Well, we're so glad that y'all are here, and she's awesome. Did I remember she was wearing her hat? Was it last year? Is that right? It might have been another cute little doxy.
I don't think she wore her hat, but she bought all her Carolina gear when she was just a baby. So she has a Carolina leather jacket, a rain jacket, football, baseball, all those jerseys in like size extra small.
That's awesome.
She can still wear her basketball jersey.
That's amazing.
I will say one more quick fact. You know that little ball that rolls and says, does the Carolina fight song? It's like a little basketball dog toy. Well, when she hears the fight song on television during basketball games when we're not in COVID, she will go grab that toy. She thinks it's her toy making the noise.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. I'm going to hand it over to Randy.
We're in Graham, too.
Hey, Yeah, so I'm Randy Basinger. I graduated in '91, and I have Kenobi here with me. He's not wanting to get on camera. So. There he is. Come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does voiceovers.
There you go.
Oh.
4-month-old Labradoodle.
Oh.
He is a COVID, purchase, actually. I had a Sheltie who died just he was 12 and a half. And so we lost him right around the time that everything shut down. So I was like, I can't go that long, especially being trapped in my house without having another dog. So found him, and he's been good. We're going through puppy training and all the other fun stuff.
Good.
That's so great. Well, we're so glad you're here. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and he's about 47 pounds so far, and who knows how big he's going to get.
That's awesome. Oh, good luck
60.
with puppy training. That's so fun. Sweet. I'm going to go over now to Jennifer, Franklin, and Fig.
All right, this is my first Zoom, so let me know if you can hear me. So this is Figaro. He's a year-old. He's a Bernedoodle, and this is Franklin. He's 4 years old, a golden doodle. And Franklin is named after Franklin Street, and we live just outside of Charlotte. We're in Mount Holly, and they couldn't be more different. Franklin's like a couch potato, Fig's like a crazy circus dog. And we bought like a agility course for Fig, so hopefully gonna teach him how to do jumps and stuff, because we did like that toilet paper challenge, where you like stack it up and everything, and he did like a bunch of those. So he likes to jump over things, and then Franklin's just like hanging out, and he just likes to get into the trash can and like eat chicken bones. And so I don't know if you saw earlier, but the trash can was in the bedroom because he likes to get into the trash, so I moved the trash can.
What's that? It's on here. Look.
So that's that.
He's got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. They're super cute.
She thinks there's a toy squeak in here.
Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh.
Go get the other one. Come on. Go get one.
Let's see. Okay, the next person I have is Eva.
Yeah, hi. Sorry. Yeah, I'm Eva Lawrence. I graduated also late because I went to law school. So, had a career before that, and I'm here with Floppy. Let me see if I can show him to you. So that's the picture of Floppy. He's actually sleeping right now. So he only lifted his head when he heard the toy squeak, because he really likes to play with squeaky toys. The other thing is, his favorite trick is he chases anything that moves. Even if the squirrel is way up the tree, he'll try to dance around the tree and make it come down. And he has his favorite toy is a hedgehog. And it has to go with him whenever we go for a car ride or leave the house for any kind of occasion, unless it's a walk.
There's a hedgehog too.
So Hetchy has to go with him. It's like Linus's comfort blanket in Peanuts. He'll lean on that whenever he's nervous. He take it with him to the vet. When we go to have his nail clips, he has Hetchy with him too, and it just calms him down. So that we are now on version number 3. I keep fixing all the old ones, so he now has a choice between a really new one and 2 hedgehogs that kind of look like soccer balls or baseballs almost. They keep getting smaller and smaller, and I keep sewing them back together, and he still carries them around as long as they're something hedgehog related or resembling, he's fine with it. So.
That's so great. That's so funny. Yes, Sophie's got a froggy that has been decapitated several times, but it still hangs around. So, it's fine. Awesome. Well, thank y'all. We're so glad that you joined us. That's amazing. Hey, Jack. And oh my gosh, is that Henry? Oh, wait, you got to unmute yourself.
Henry, he's completely asleep. I think the worrying about the hurricane is very tired.
Oh, sleeping.
But I'm good.
That's awesome. What is Henry's favorite trick?
Oh, I can get him to play catch about 3 times with a stick, and then he completely loses interest. He's very enthusiastic about laying down when I give him a treat. It's more like a extreme pounce than actually laying down.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Hey, Anna Brooks.
Hello, I'm Anna Brooks, and this is Harley, and she just actually picked her head up for the first time in like 20 minutes. Harley, do you want to look? We are currently hiding in my closet because she is terrified of the storm. We're in Raleigh, and she's also mad at me because we got stuck in the rain on our walk this evening. But her favorite trick, she demands a cheese toll anytime that a bag of shredded cheese is open. And really that's her favorite trick, but she has to do other tricks in order to get the cheese. And that is the only way that we have established any sort of stay or come command for her.
That's awesome. Well, she's precious. And yes, I know it just actually started storming really bad here too. So if y'all see Sophie start to freak out, then that means the thunder. So we can get through this. Okay, Diane. Thanks, Anna Brooks.
Let me unmute. Okay. I am actually here to get some tips for my about 5-month-old grand dog in Asheville. I have yet to see him, but we will be going up in the next 10 days or so. And he is the companion to my 2-year-old granddaughter and soon to be 5-year-old grandson. And he is a rescue dog who is feral, but he loves the children. So I need tips to take with me to help them with his training.
Awesome. That's so great. I'm sure Megan will be able to help with that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Sure. Awesome. Well, it's nice to meet you. And
It's nice to meet you. I've worked with Tania before. I'm not sure if she's online now, but
hey, Diane.
Hi, how are you?
Fine.
Yes, y'all, Tania's helping me do some of the logistics stuff of the Zoom call.
Okay.
Yeah, Tania's helping me out here. We're so thankful that she's on the call. So, well, thanks, Diane. All right, and Jean, are you online?
Yes, I'm here. I have no dogs near me, although there's 3 here in the house. 2 of them have spent most of today hunkered down during the thunderstorm. The oldest is a soon-to-be 15-year-old Labradoodle. He'll be 15 in the next week. And I didn't realize he could still hear thunder, but he was under the bed today. He's about 72 pounds and best dog in the world. Love my Jake. Then we have about an 8-year-old Cocker Spaniel who just appeared in front of our house about 7 years ago. We never found an owner, and he was never listed as a lost dog on anywhere. So he has been with us all that time. That's Charlie. And then the real reason I'm here is Cole, which is my son's dog, which is a black pit lab mix and the biggest baby I have ever encountered in a dog form. But he is terrified of pretty much everything.
And I just saw him headed upstairs a little while ago, so that means he's heard some thunder. But he's also very needy. So I'm here, he's living with us while my son is working out of town. And I'm here to find out how we're gonna handle when all the humans are no longer in the house.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining us, Jean. Awesome. Okay. Well, first of all, I did want to say at the end of this, I would love, if possible, to somehow, just like as if we were in person, to get a group picture. So we'll do this after we do Megan's awesome information. So make sure to stay around until the end. So thank y'all for sharing your Tar Heel puppies with us tonight. My day's definitely been completely made, and they're all extremely cute. I would now like to introduce Meghan Thomas. Meghan has an extensive background, which includes working with owned and homeless dogs in 5 states: Alabama, Maine, Georgia, Utah, and North Carolina. She now lives in Cary, North Carolina with her long-term boyfriend, Jeff, and their rescue dogs, Olive and Theodore. Before moving to the Triangle, she worked in Southern Utah for Best Friends Animal Society with dogs who had been deemed too extreme medically or behaviorally for adoption at their former shelter. She has aided in the successful rehabilitation of dogs rescued from puppy mills, dog fighting operations, hoarding, and abuse and neglect. Meghan has experienced firsthand the canine human bond that is created through training and is dedicated to helping dogs and their owners share in that fabulous experience, and believes training should be fun whenever possible. So Meghan, I'm gonna hand it over to you now.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, perfect. So before I get into the topic today of separation anxiety and kind of what it is and isn't, I'll introduce you to my 2 dogs that you've seen playing around in the background here. So this dog who's laying down, I don't know if you guys can see her all that well. That is Olive. Olive is a rescue from Durham APS. Fun fact about Olive, she's terrified of everything in the world that is outside of the house. So inside the house, she is the perfect dog. Outside of the house, she's terrified of people, other dogs, noises, all kinds of stuff. So she's, I don't know, she's perfect here. But she's not like unnerved by fireworks or thunder. So that's actually kind of a good thing. Her favorite trick, really, she just likes playing tug. She's been taught a handful of tricks, but really she just likes to play. She likes to play tug with her tug rope. That's her favorite thing. She's got a flat fox down here with squeakies in it. That's her favorite thing. My other dog, I think he's over here. Here he is. This is my other dog, Theo. Can't see his face. Hang on one sec. Theo, come here. Oh, you both want a cookie? So now they're both interested. And so here's Theo. Here's my other dog. And fun fact about him, he was free to a good home on Craigslist at 1 year of age. I realize now that I could have been easily kidnapped because all the Craigslist ad said was free purebred Dalmatian with papers, come and get him, basically. And so there I was. Hi, I'm here for the dog. And so reached out to them, and he's got a lot of allergies, and he's a fantastic dog, but he was homeless on Craigslist. And so I reached out and got him. And his favorite trick is, actually, he might even be able to do it for you guys. Let me see here. I'll get rid of my blanket. Theo, can you pretty? Can you do pretty? That's not pretty. Can you pretty? Yes, good boy. Good job. Sometimes he gets confused because he also knows the trick. Do you want to fight? Yeah, put him up. Good boy. So sometimes he gets confused as to whether or not he's supposed to stand or just sit pretty. So, but that's my 2 dogs. So you might hear me kind of reference them, stories about them, things like that. But yeah, what we're going to talk about today is separation anxiety. Again, what it is and what it isn't. Because the biggest thing with separation anxiety is that it can sometimes be man-made, and because separation anxiety most of the time is self-diagnosed by the owner and not necessarily a training professional, I'll hear all the time people will reach out and they'll say, oh my gosh, my dog has separation anxiety. I can't go anywhere because he'll chew things up. But more often than not, it's because a new puppy is being left out of their crate too early. They're getting too much freedom of the house too early. There have been times, especially with punishment-based dog training methods, if you are, rolling up a newspaper and swatting your dog on the nose, spanking them on the butt and things like that for chewing things or going to the bathroom in the house, sometimes the dog learns, I still need to do these behaviors. Dogs need to chew and they need to go to the bathroom, but then they don't dare to do them in front of you. And so there's people that'll say, I'll take my dog on a 2-mile walk every morning and he won't go number 2. But then when I let him loose in the house, he'll, I'll leave for work and I'll come home and he's gone in the upstairs guest bathroom or something like that. And a lot of times people think, well, it's got to be separation anxiety, but it might not be. It might be that the dog has thought, well, I can't go to the bathroom in front of you. I can't chew in front of you. But then once you are gone, I still need to go to the bathroom. I still need to chew, things like that. So the first thing is that if you are suspecting that your dog has separation anxiety, just think about, and not to say that like, oh, you've probably punished your dog and, caused anything, but think about like, is it a younger dog or a new to you dog and you're leaving them out of their crate a little prematurely? They haven't necessarily learned how to keep their mouths to themselves or where they're supposed to potty and things like that. So that's kind of the first thing there. Second one is think about any punishment that could have happened, and no judgment. I know that it's still a big thing in mainstream dog ownership that you're supposed to tell your dog when they're doing something wrong, and you are. I mean, I tell my dogs when they're getting it right. I let them know when they're getting it wrong, but you have to really like do it in a way that makes sense to the dog. Catch them in the act of going to the bathroom. No, stop. Grab them, bring them outside, and reinforce and reward them for pottying outside. So inside, ooh, no, I'm going to get you and interrupt you. Then when we get outside, that's when you get, the praise, the reinforcement, the food rewards and things like that. So your dog learns, don't put my mouth on this, put it on this instead. Don't potty inside on the rug, potty outside on the grass. And it makes a lot more sense to them. And so without this being, a full, 4-hour, training lecture or seminar or anything like that, be thinking about those first 2 things. And then the second part of kind of what separation anxiety isn't, it's not confinement distress. So you can have a dog that is like uncomfortable if you're not near them and you're not around, that is totally fine in their crate. And you can have a dog that is totally fine being left alone, but they don't like being confined in their crate at all. And so if you have a dog who is very unnerved, uncomfortable, flat out fearful of being in a confined space, in their crate, things like that, there's actually a blog post that I can link to you guys. It's one of my favorite, really easy to digest blog posts on crate training. And I would start off with crate training first to see if it is confinement distress or separation anxiety if you're going more of the DIY route when it comes to diagnosing and treating and getting over that hump of the separation anxiety. So there's that. So there's a lot of different factors there to look into with separation anxiety to figure out, okay, is this actual separation anxiety or not? Because if it's not, in a lot of ways, it's easier to solve because it's something that you can actively work on in person while you're there. Separation anxiety is very hard to, I don't want to say like hard to do, because treating separation anxiety is very simple, but it's hard to do because you need to be like leaving the house to do so. You need to be finding places to go. You need to be changing up routines and things like that. And so separation anxiety is simple to solve. It's just very time consuming. And if it's just confinement distress, poor chewing habits, poor hot potty habits, things like that, then it's a lot easier to solve than separation anxiety itself. That said, the book that I always recommend to people if you are going to DIY separation anxiety is about 40 pages long. So it's a very, very easy to read book, very simple book. Like I said, treating and solving separation anxiety is simple to do. It's just time consuming, but it is a really easy book, and I'll link that in the chat. Actually, I can do that right now. Link that in the chat for you guys. It's a book called I'll Be Home Soon by Dr. Patricia McConnell. And she wrote that book, I think, back in 2000, but it holds up. Even a couple of decades later, it holds up. So looking at making sure that our dogs don't develop any separation anxiety, first thing I want to talk about is dog trainers are a little bit like in argument about if dogs can develop separation anxiety because their living situation has changed. When I had my previous dog, Pork Chop, for 8 years, oh gosh, I adopted her in Alabama, then we moved back to Maine, then Georgia, then Utah, then North Carolina. And I think even within the 5 states, we had something crazy like 12 addresses, because we had like our temp address when we got there, then we had our proper place, and moved around quite a bit. And Pork Chop never developed separation anxiety. I would have like a 9-to-5 job. I would have evenings and weekend jobs. There'd be times where she would be left alone for 2 hours for like 6 months, and all of a sudden she's being left alone for 6 hours, for 2 years, and things like that. So jury is kind of out right now as to whether or not just your average dog can develop separation anxiety simply based on the transition of work habits and work patterns and things like that. But if you're already noticing that your dog is getting anxious about you leaving the house, it might not be part of their routine yet. So first thing is, if you are working from home, doing everything from home, start leaving the house. And I know that's easier said than done, but do things that don't involve your dog. If right now you're really going outside to just simply go to the grocery store and walk your dog, those are kind of the 2 times a day that you're leaving, try to go on a walk by yourself. Try to go on a drive. Even if it's simply to, be able to gas up your car more frequently because the gas is just sitting in the tank, not really going anywhere. I live right now in Cary, and there's been a couple of times that my boyfriend and I have just left, and we've gone on a walk around Bond Park for an hour, get in the car and just drive the 540 loop, leave for an hour, just so that our dogs are getting used to being left alone, because we're both working from home right now. His desk is right there, that little corner. And so we're home all the time. And so we're trying to find ways that we can leave the house, go to the grocery store together, grab to-go food together, things like that, and try to make it at least an hour. Right now, a lot of dog trainers are saying that 2 hours is pretty good, because that could be the time of you going to work before the dog walker gets there to walk them, before you have a lunch break to come back and let them out, and things like that. So trying to leave them several times a week. It doesn't have to be once a day, but just several times a week, 3 or 4 times a week, every other day, kind of, if you look at it that way, would be good for most dogs. If you're noticing higher anxiety when you're going to leave, try giving them something really high value that they don't normally get before you go. And this is going to sound weird, but it's so that your dog is like, ooh, I hope they leave so that I can have this really awesome thing that I don't normally get. So it could be as simple as giving them a Kong, fill it with peanut butter, or don't necessarily fill it. What I do is, like, if this is my Kong, because I don't have one, I forgot to grab one. You guys kind of know what a Kong looks like. I filled kind of the bottom 1/3 with my dog's kibble. Then I filled the other 2/3 with peanut butter. And that's because I think Kongs are disgusting to clean out. And so as your dog is licking the peanut butter and as it's thawing, I don't know about you, but all of my dogs, both of them, they'll just like push all the peanut butter to like the end of the Kong, and then they can't lick it. Their tongue isn't long enough. So then I'm just sitting there with like an old toothbrush trying to like dig out all of that disgusting peanut butter that they didn't eat. But if you put the kibble at the bottom, it kind of acts like a little blocker so that the peanut butter doesn't go as far. Then once the peanut butter is licked out, they can kind of bat the Kong around and eat the kibble. Putting in dog food, canned dog food, and putting it in the freezer. Some people will do a concoction of like shredded chicken, and then they'll do, I don't know, like some, in the middle they might do some pumpkin, and then on the top they'll do a little coconut oil and freeze that. If you go to Kong's website, they actually have a lot of really cool like recipes for Kongs that you can use to make up your own Kongs, but doing it in a way where there's not necessarily a choking hazard if you leave. It wouldn't be like giving them like a bully stick and then leaving. The likelihood of them choking is slim, but it's still not a chance that I'm willing to take. So trying to give your dog something that they can have before you leave. But the catch is you don't necessarily want to make it the same thing, because if the Kong is the precursor to you leaving, that can take a dog with separation anxiety and cause them to be like, oh gosh, I know you're leaving. Like, this is what I get before you go. So give it to them other times, walk that balance, but find other ooey gooey things that you can give them before you go so that they're excited about you leaving. Last thing before I kind of pause for questions, and then I can kind of move on just in case anybody had a question, is when you do leave, don't make it a big deal. That's one of the worst things that we can do for a dog that already has anxiety. And it's hard because it seems heartless. It seems like you don't care about your dogs. And of course we all do. But what we see a lot is when people go to leave, they're going, oh my gosh, Fluffy, I'm so sorry. I have to leave you. Don't worry. Mama will be right back. I love you. Kisses, kisses. Oh, let me find your favorite toy. Oh my gosh, it's okay. I'll be right back. I'll be back. I love you. I'll be back. And like, you're doing that as you leave, and your dog is just like, oh my God, like you're leaving me, and it's causing more anxiety. And then we leave and they're like, okay, well, how am I supposed to feel about this? Now they're left to their own devices. We probably haven't set them up for success to deal with all of that anxiety. And then when we come back, a lot of people throw that door open. I'm home, Mama's here, I love you, I missed you so much, oh, come up to me. So the only part of our dog's day where they're getting excitement or anxiety is when we leave or when we come back. So then they learn like, okay, well, Mama left and I'm just going to sit here and just wait for her to come back. And when is she coming back? I can't wait for her to come back. She's going to kiss me. She's going to bring me something. She's going to love me. And so they're just sitting there just waiting with high anxiety, and high anxiety can cause them to do things like scratching at the door, barking really loudly, drooling. If they're in the crate, they could do some self-destructive behaviors like chewing on the bars. It could get their mouth all cut up, pawing at the door that could get their paws cut up, things like that, trying to escape and kind of getting caught in the crate. And so we, as much as possible, and it's heartbreaking, but as much as possible, make you leaving and returning no big deal. Especially if you have a dog that likes to jump all over you and like maul you when you get home. It can help if you walk in, not naming any names there, but if you walk in and you act like, you know, if you walk in and just, I tell people, pretend you have like 8 bags of groceries every time you come in. You're not going to be able to kiss all over your dog and pet all over your dog if you've got 8 bags of groceries. And so just kind of walk in, you know, go set your keys down, walk into the kitchen, you know, set your bag down, whatever it is. Take just 10, 15, 30 seconds to walk in the door, kick your shoes off, and then give your dog attention. There's actually been times with my dog Pork Chop where I had guests over, coworkers over, and, you know, I would like meet them outside or, you know, show them where I was living, go walk into the house, and they're like, where's Pork Chop? And as soon as she heard a name, or heard A, her name, and B, a voice that wasn't mine or Jeff's, she would have then come running down the hall. But for the most part, she'd just be napping on the bed, napping on the couch. Who cares that Mom came home, because she doesn't obsess over me as soon as she gets home. And so why should she obsess over me coming home? And so that can be a really huge help for dogs, making you coming and you going not a big deal. We still have a lot more to talk about, but do you guys have any questions about what we've talked about so far? Okay, and if you, ask, for questions later as well. And if you guys want to type something up to put in the chat too, I can answer from the chat there. Other things to think about is trying not to feed into your dog's anxiety too much when they are being anxious. If you are home, you just came home and they are just jumping all over you, wanting attention, give it to me right now. We do want to help them. We do want to console them in a way, but it's going to be a lot more powerful for your dog if they learn how to self-soothe. And so again, this is going to come across as a little bit heartless, but if your dog is just jumping all over you, asking for attention and things like that when you first come home, try to ignore them as much as possible. Then when they have 4 on the floor, give them the attention that they want. If they then go into kind of that jumping all over you, excited, whining, barking, chewing on you, anything like that, take that attention away, wait them out, and then give them the attention when they've got 4 feet on the floor, when they're in a sit, something like that. So that they learn, if I'm in this anxious state, nobody likes that. I don't like it, and my owner doesn't like it. And so maybe I should try something else. And then it causes them to go from this reactive state into a thinking state. Because then they're thinking, well, I want attention. Oh, I feel really anxious. And when they stop and think, and they've got their 4 feet on the floor, and now you're telling them, oh, what a good girl, nice and calm, not, oh my gosh, you're so smart. Just, what a good girl, you're so smart, kind of bending down and giving them attention. It can help them feel better. So then they learn, if I've got anxiety, don't jump all over and maul my owner, mauling being in, a happy, to see you sense of the word, not a aggressive sense. But if I can keep myself calm, cool, collected, I get reinforcement for that. I get self-soothe because I'm thinking about my actions. I'm thinking about my anxiety, and I'm working towards that calm state. Of course, there's a lot of other things that you guys can be doing too. Again, for time, I have a really bad habit of what my boyfriend calls verbal kidnapping, because I've never physically kidnapped anybody, but I can talk about dog stuff all day. And so I can do that if you let me. But if you can, at the very least, try to ignore your dog as much as humanly possible when they're in that frenetic state. And if you see any signal from them that they are trying to self-soothe, they're trying to calm themselves down, give them attention for it. 4 feet on the floor, a sit, that's them thinking about their body language, thinking about, their state of mind, and thinking about their actions. So if they're in a thinking state, reinforce that. Give them attention, give them praise and petting. If you see your dog doing lip licks, where they're flicking their tongue out and licking their nose, especially if there's no food involved, that is a self-soothing behavior. That is them trying to calm themselves down. Excitement and anxiety are both stress. One's good stress and one's bad stress, but there's still stress in the dog. So flicking out their tongue, licking their lips is a way for them to calm themselves down. Another one, kind of the second one of the big 3 that I talk about, is a nice big yawn, just especially if there's any vocalization to it. My dog Theo is kind of king of the stress yawn. He'll just do a nice big kind of vocal yawn when something's bothering him. Right now it's kind of quiet outside, but if we have, any thunder, you're going to see him hop up because he's going to want to be picked up. And, I've got trainer brain and I've got owner brain, and they don't always get along. So you will see me pick him up because I'm not going to give him any attention necessarily. I'll pick him up on my lap and he enjoys being there, but you might see him stress yawn a couple times because the thunder freaked him out. So reinforce that. Food, toys, praise, or petting, just, yes, what a good job. You're self-soothing. That's so nice. Massage time with them to kind of help work that stressful energy out. And then the third one is a big shake off. Big, partial shake off of just the head and the neck, or a full body shake off. I tell people that what a shake off looks like is when your dog is wet and they shake off all that water. If they're doing that when they're dry, they are shaking off a lot of stress. They are just, whoo. You might see when you get home that your dog runs up to you, jumps, shake off, jump, shake off, zoomies, shake off. Okay, I think I'm good. Because they have all that excitement energy and they're just, whoo, frenetic. And that shake off is kind of the biggest, it's like a big deep breath for us. It's just, whew. I mean, some people even have that like, whew, okay, that's over with. Like, I gotta shake it off and I've got to keep going. And so if they do any self-soothing behavior, capitalize on that, reinforce that. So to do a quick recap here, because sometimes I can get a little rambly. If you notice your dog starting to have anxiety about you coming or going from the house, the first thing is it's going to sound counterintuitive, but leave more often. So that way they're getting used to, okay, sometimes they leave several times a week, especially if you've been at home a lot and you haven't really gone anywhere. Sometimes more is more in that regard. But watch your dog's anxiety. If it's getting worse, if you've got cameras, check on them and things like that. If you've got like a Furbo or any other treat dispenser, that's awesome. Give them treats while you're gone. They're going to love that. Hey, we only play this game with this cool device up on the mantle here when mom's gone. So I like it when mom's gone because I get extra tasty snacks. And so utilize what you can there. On that note, when you go to leave, give them something really good. Give them something that's like, yes, I want you to leave because I get ooey gooey stuff. Have it be a good thing that you're leaving. Or, the last part of it is no big deal. Don't freak out. Don't cause them to fret about you leaving because you're not making a big deal out of it. If you're constantly and consistently every time you leave doing the like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm leaving before you go. And then you come back, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I left. When you come back, it's not helping your dog. It's keeping that anxiety up. And we don't want to be contributing to that with our dogs because as heartless as it feels to leave them with no, gusto, you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving. It's actually better for them emotionally and mentally that you're not leaving them for 2 hours in this frenetic, anxious state. And so think about it that way. If it breaks your heart to leave them, you can still say bye. Be like, oh, mama's leaving. She'll be back later. That's fine. Short and sweet, no drama. But if we're being dramatic because we're worried about their state of mind, we're actually contributing to an unhealthy state of mind. So think about it that way. Another thing that you guys can do that can help out with separation anxiety, if you are seeing full-blown separation anxiety, is to hire a pet sitter, a dog walker to be coming in while you are leaving. So that way they can spend some time with them. If you are going to be gone, of course, for, I tell people 6 hours or longer. I have somebody come to, let my dogs out so they can relieve their bladder and bowel pressure. They can break up their day. Because also, too, while you leave all day, your dogs are usually sleeping. And then you come home and you're exhausted from your long day. And they're like, good, you're home. Let's play. Let's go for a walk and let's throw the ball and let's play tug and let's do stuff. And a lot of times we're asking our dogs, they do sleep for like 12 to 16 hours a day anyway, but we're trying to get them to sleep for like 20 hours a day. And that's just not possible for some dogs, especially young dogs or active breeds. And so by having somebody come in, family member, trusted friend, professional, come in to let your dogs out and play with them, that can help fatigue them longer. It can help give them things to do, and it can break up the anxious state if they are getting some anxiety there. Other things that you guys can do, again, be aware that there is the potential for choking. So do this when you're home, but also if you trust your dog, you could do this when you leave. I have 3 different food puzzles that are my favorites. Actually, I'm gonna save my favorite for last here. The first one, kind of food puzzle that you can give your dog, or even have the pet sitter come to the house and give your dog. I've already heard somebody say something about a snuffle mat earlier. I did not make this. I'm sorry. Those of you who make snuffle mats, more power to you, because I made a snuffle mat. Took me like 4 hours. My fingers hurt. And I was like, this never again. I think I bought material to make 3. I made 1 and I gave the material to my sister. And I was like, more power to you. Make your own. But a snuffle mat, if you guys have never seen one before, people usually get either sink mats if you're going to make like a smaller one, or this is like an anti-fatigue mat, like really heavy duty, really heavy. This probably weighs like 8 pounds. something crazy like that. So it's a big, thick rubber fatigue mat that has been cut into like 1 foot by 1 foot squares. And you can see there's fleece that has been fed through all these little holes and then just tied in a simple knot on the top to make really like a shag carpet, basically. And then what you do with your dog's kibble is you hide it kind of inside all of the fabric pieces here. And then your dog has to snuffle around, use their nose, use their teeth and their tongue, and really get in between all of the fabric pieces to get everything out. It takes, I think one time for this snuffle mat, I put 1/4 of a cup of kibble on it, and I filmed Theo doing the snuffle mat. I filmed him for 3 minutes, and I ended up stopping the video because it took him, I think, over 6 minutes to get the 1/4 of a cup of kibble. So imagine a 16-second meal that your dog just hoovers up versus a snuffle mat that can take your dog, 3 to 5 minutes to get through, just depending on how much food they get. I don't like to put a ton of food, so I'll put like a 1/2 cup of kibble max there for my dogs. And then what I like, just to kind of show you guys an easy way to see if your dog, and there might even be some kibble pieces in here, but what I like about the snuffle mat is when they're done, or I think that they're done, I just turn it upside down and I just kind of work it, like this. So that way any pieces that were in there, will get shaken loose. And then same thing on this side, just kind of, fold it and just kind of do this pretty fast, and it'll shake out whatever pieces are left. And then your dog, usually with Olive and Theo, there's at least between 1 and 5 pieces that they didn't get out of their snuffle mats. So that's the first one that you guys can do. And of course, don't leave it out with your dog if they're then going to just shred all of the fabric pieces, chew on the plastic or the rubber fatigue mat or things like that. But if you guys are in the triangle, or even if you're not, you could go online on Etsy, look at like Facebook Marketplace and things like that. There are a lot of people who, do this as their profession. They're really good at it. I bought mine from Howling Moon Pet Care in Raleigh. She's a fantastic trainer, pet sitter, and she also makes her own just dog stuff. And so she's just fantastic. Another thing that I love is the Kong Wobbler. So this is, I guess I kind of had what a Kong looks like, but this is a Kong Wobbler. It, you can put, I don't even know what you could put in here, probably 10 cups of kibble. It's that big. But what I do with my dogs is I will give them, again, like a 1/2 cup of kibble. I kind of put it here, screw on the base. This base, if you guys can hear it, it's got sand in the bottom. So it's a wobbler because no matter kind of how they do it, it's going to end up kind of standing back up. They roll it across the room. It might land like this, but for the most part, it kind of goes back up. It's got one hole right here on this side. So as your dog is batting it around, kibbles are going to get shaken loose here. What Theo ends up doing though is he finds where the hole is and he just does this. Just over and over, just this one motion until everything comes out. Usually there's 1 or 2 pieces that are still stuck in there that he can't shake loose. But same thing, this can take a 16-second meal and turn it into a 6-minute meal. And that is fatiguing their brain and also fatiguing their body. The last one, I don't know how much the Kong Wobbler is because this was like our neighbor was moving out and asked us if we wanted it because their dog didn't care about it. And we were like, yeah, sure. My favorite investment ever is the Magic Mushroom. And it's from Pet Safe. It's $20 for the big one. It's $15 for the small one. So I just get the big one no matter what. This fits about 2 cups of kibble in. And it comes apart in 4 different pieces. So you've got the like umbrella topper. You've got the bottom here that I just unscrewed. And then this also comes apart here, this kind of darker purple. But on the top here, you guys can see it's got holes in the top. And depending on how big your dog's kibble is, you can make the hole smaller. Don't make the mistake of closing it and then giving it to your dog and realizing 2 hours later that your dog got nothing out of it because they were batting it around and nothing happened. But what I like about this one, let me go ahead and screw this on correctly here. What I like about this one is it kind of bottlenecks here. So if I put a 1/2 cup of kibble in here, my dog has to tip it end on end or at least end on side to get kibble out of it. And so if it's on the side and it just kind of rolls around like this, not going to happen. They've really got to bat it, push it with their nose, flip it upside down, and just bat it all over the place. This is going to get rid of some going to get rid of a lot of energy through both mental and physical means. That said, I have met, if you guys have a hound, watch out, not to stereotype, but I have met 3 hounds where all they've learned, and actually, well, I think Holden does the same thing. I'm not sure. I see you kind of pointing at him. But some dogs will learn, just pick it up with your bottom jaw and just shake it like this for like 30 seconds. And then they just drop it on the ground and eat all the kibbles off the floor. But if that's what your dog learns, that's fine. But I have met 3 people that all had scent hounds that just learned to literally just pick it up and just shake it. What I like about this is like the Kong is too big for most mouths to chew on, and you can kind of see on my Kong Wobbler that there's some chew marks here, but this is like more of like, it's like a hard plastic. You really can't sink your teeth into it. It would crack more than it would like chew, and so it really discourages dogs from chewing on it. Sorry, I can see Theo. He's like over here watching me like, when are you gonna put that on the ground for me? And so this can really give your dogs mental and physical ways to get their energy out. Because if you think about it, most dogs were bred for a physical endurance activity. They were bred for, you know, flushing out game, retrieving game, guarding, herding, and things like that. They weren't necessarily bred for mental problem solving. So the more kind of food puzzles and enrichment games that you do mentally, even agility. A lot of people focus on the physical aspect of agility, but there's a huge mental aspect too. They've got to be watching you and your body language. What obstacle is next? How do I take that obstacle correctly? Where do I have to go next? So it's like doing your taxes while you're running on a treadmill. It's both mental and physical for your dog. And the more we can mentally and physically fatigue them in addition to their walks, their hikes, their swims, a tired dog is a happy dog, and hopefully when you go to leave, they're like, yeah, good, I'm exhausted, get out of here. Stop with all this mental enrichment, stop with all this physical enrichment, I need to take a nap. And so that can help with separation distress as well. Crate training, potty training, what they can put their mouth on, and things like that. But that book from Dr. Patricia McConnell is a really good one for separation anxiety. So any questions about any of that stuff? I know that I kind of went over a little bit more than I intended to. There's that verbal kidnapping there. It's hard to take something so intricate and make it short and sweet and digestible, but that book really helps. And then there's a blog that I will grab while we're wrapping up here for crate training for anyone who is interested. But any questions?
I did get a question from Jack. This is a question about like if you have any recommendations on like transitioning from being left in a crate versus being left out, like while we're still at home. If you could quickly chat about that.
I guess I have something minor to add to that. Like he's really good in a crate and doesn't have any issues. And I mostly feel guilty about leaving him in the crate. So I'm not sure if I'm just like trying to fix something that doesn't have an issue really.
Well, it's really up to you. I leave my dogs loose now. They are crate trained, but they're loose 99% of their day now because they've, graduated from being in the crate. There are dogs that really love their crate. They love being in their crate. They love being surrounded by safety. And so it's not a big deal if you do leave your dog in a crate. There are some dogs where they don't feel like they're missing out. My dog Olive, she is inside 99% of her life. We go patio dining, we take Theo. Olive is not missing out. She's my introvert, he's my extrovert. And so if you don't think that your dog feels like they're missing out, no big deal. If your dog is reactive to things outside because of fear, the crate could be better for them. My boyfriend was leaving the windows open and the blinds open with Olive because he wanted her to be able to watch doggy TV. The difference is he thought she was watching the Disney Channel and she was watching reruns of like Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and everybody out there was like Freddy and Jason and all those, Frankenstein monsters passing by the house wanting to get her. And so we have the blinds closed, or, we've done a lot of training with her, so she's fine now, but it was us, again, it's kind of same thing, putting our human element there. But for letting them out of their crate, I would just go slow. Leave them out for 10, 15 minutes go get the mail, take a little walk around the block, run to the store and get groceries, and come back. Little bits here and there, so that way you can see, did they chew up anything? You can also do, like, in addition to short trips, you can do less of the house. So you could just block them in the bedroom, block them in the bathroom, block them someplace. With my dogs, I would leave them loose in the house because we have an open floor plan, but shut all the bathroom and bedroom doors. And so that way they could really access like the hallways, the living room, dining room, and kitchen. That's it. So you can, less is more with the time, and less is more with the physical ability to be around the house, and then just up it from there. And if you notice any backslides, them chewing on stuff, prevent them from getting to that. If they're chewing up the couch, leave them in the office where there isn't a couch, and then try to work on the chewing stuff there. But going slow is the best advice. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
One more question from Robbie. There's some aggression with our leash aggression. Do you have any resources you'd recommend for that?
Yes. So a couple of different things. One sec here. I'm trying to get the group chat back, and I don't see it. So I'm gonna have to do that towards the end here. Oh wait, no. Here we go. So before I forget, there's the blog, one of my favorite, really simple, easy blog posts on crate training, a bunch of different crate training games that you can do with your dog. But yes, for leash reactivity, if it is proper aggression, or it can be fear-based aggression, like if the dog gets too close, there is the potential for a fight, then definitely work with a trainer, either remotely or hands-on. That way you've got professional eyes on everything that's going on. You're keeping everybody safe. But there are some, if you guys want to write these down, there are some online programs, or even kind of online resources and exercises that you can look at. If your dog is fearful and it's causing their reactivity, or excited and causing their reactivity, I would look at a training exercise called the Look at That game. Some trainers call that the Engage, Disengage game. But essentially what the Look at That game does is it takes what we tend to do as humans and flips it upside down. Because when your dog is reactive, you're going off the trail and you're going, oh my gosh, don't see it, put the blinders on, look at me, sit, focus, just look at me, don't see that. And if that's what you're doing right now, that's awesome. Keep doing that. But that is under what we would call management versus training. Management is don't see it, don't see it. And if you don't see it, I hope you guys could hear me, but if you don't see it, then we don't have a problem. But then what happens when your dog does see it, they lose their mind. So the Look at That game helps the dog feel comfortable looking at something that is scary, but also if they look at another dog and they haven't had that big boisterous reaction yet, you can actually reward them for the non-reaction. So with the Look at That game, if your dog looks at the dog, the person, the stroller, whatever it is that stresses them out, if you can give them a marker signal like yes, a clicker, something like that, if you, not to like self-promote here, but I do have like a YouTube playlist of like marker training fundamentals that can help you guys just with marker training in general, that I can find and link in just a little bit. But with them looking, hopefully once they look, you mark them, and what can happen, even if they don't look back at you for their reward, if you mark them, that can cause your dog, again, going from a reacting state into a thinking state, they're like, oh wait, I know what that means. Does that mean I'm getting food? Even if they don't turn and look at you, you could put that food right in front of their face. Oh, hey, bring it back to you and reward them. Ideally, make sure that you are far enough away that your dog can disengage from the stressor. So if you do have to go off the trail or something like that, work them up towards it. Distractions, you need to make them low. The distance further away. Intensity of the trigger plays a factor too, things like that. But if they look at it and they haven't had a reaction yet, try to mark it. If they see a dog and look back at you, try to mark it. And even if you guys don't know what that means, again, that's where the videos will help. But it can take what your dog is already going to naturally do, which is look at a scary trigger or an excitement trigger, and it rewards them for looking without having a reaction. So a good behavior, they look and look back at you, mark it. They look and don't have a bad behavior yet, mark it. even if your dog has a reaction and they're bark, 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 lunge, 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 and you just, you turn and walk away, you get as far away from that stressor or trigger as possible. If they can finally disengage and look at you, or at least stop, they do a shake off, something like that. Take 3 to 5 big steps and try to mark and reward them letting it go, shaking off, going from a reacting state back into a thinking state. Beware of that last one though, because you don't want to accidentally teach them bark, bark, bark. You got food for me? You don't want them to think about that. But right now, if they're in a reacting state and they can let it go and they can move on, reward that, mark and reward that. And so that's a good game. Another 2 that I won't go in depth, I'll just let you guys look them up. One of them is called behavior adjustment training. It's also known as BAT. Grisha Stewart is the author of behavior adjustment training. The book is called BAT 2.0 now because she's done an updated version. The book is relatively cheap, walks through all the steps, but also with Grisha, she has an online kind of reactivity academy that people can go to from the comfort of your own home. So Grisha Stewart with behavior adjustment training. And then I'm spacing on the author of the last training method, but it's called constructional aggression treatment. And it was called that back in the 90s when everything was aggression. So a lot of trainers are pushing for it to be called constructional anxiety treatment. So it's still called CAT. So we've got LAT, the look at that game, BAT, which is behavior adjustment training, and CAT, which is constructional aggression treatment or anxiety treatment. And I can't remember the author of that, but if you look up constructional aggression or anxiety treatment / dog training, something like that, you guys should be able to find a lot of information on that. I do have a 4-hour webinar that I've presented before. So if anybody has questions about that, you can reach out to me. I can link you guys that YouTube webinar. I'm just trying to find my links here. But,
just to be, I know it is a little after 8:15.
I know, sorry.
No, it's so great. This has been so helpful for me, and I'm sure everybody was able to get so much out of this, and I'm so thankful. I would love for us to take our group picture if we can.
Yeah.
And then that way, if people do have questions, they can stay for a few more minutes, but if y'all need to hop off, you can as well. So let's take a second.
One picture.
Corral our puppies if we can. I don't know if I can do a screenshot at the same time, but we'll see.
Spin. Sit.
Take it out.
Okay. Sit.
Sit. All right, wait.
Stay.
Wait.
No. Where are you going, Tilly?
Wait. Here, wait.
Look, baby. Come here. Oh, you
Can get hold and
All right.
Okay, this is the best I'm gonna get. All right, we'll do a few. Okay, ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wait, hold on. Okay, we got 1. We're gonna do it again. Okay, come on.
Good boy, Roy.
Okay. Time.
1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay.
Hey.
Fingers crossed those looked okay. I'll make sure everybody can get them. That's super cute and so awesome.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, and again, if you have to hop off, thank you so much for coming. Please join us for more GAA events. We have a lot of awesome virtual events planned for our GAA members and anyone who wants to join us as well. So thank y'all so much. And yeah, Megan, are you good to stay on maybe until 8:30 for questions if people have some more questions?
Yeah, I should be okay. I'm just trying to find that last link there. Okay. And if you want to read me questions while I find the last link.
Yeah, if y'all have questions, I do.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Grace bye.
Bye.
You have to touch it.
Say goodbye, sweetie.
You You know how to do it, then?
Here.
You have to touch it.
You do it.
Jean, I see that you're still on here. I saw your question about suggestions for thunder or fireworks fear.
So actually, if you look at the resources for reactivity and that look at that game, that can actually be kind of a good one because it talks about a method called capturing. And capturing is where, kind of like I said earlier, you catch your dog in the act of doing either a good behavior, the absence of a bad behavior, or doing a bad behavior and then letting it go. If your dog normally barks at fireworks and thunderstorms and they don't, like you hear one and they don't do anything, you can mark and reward that. Try to also counter condition them that every time there is a crack of thunder, they get chicken and cheese and ham and everything's awesome. So that can be really powerful. Thunder shirts for some dogs can be very powerful. If you know there's going to be a thunderstorm, doing mental enrichment, doing a big walk ahead of time so that they're a little bit more tired, playing classical music. I think the biggest mistake that people make when they play classical music is they pick something like bedtime Bach, where it's like meant to be like soothing and sleepy, but you actually want to play something that's got a lot more of like a beat, cymbals crashing and things like that, so that it's helping drown out the noise of that thunderstorm, fireworks, things like that. Giving them something that they can do. Again, some dogs, they can do food puzzles during a thunderstorm to take their mind off of it. Closing in a small room can help too, such as a guest bathroom, walk-in closet. Some people will play on their phone the classical music. But sorry if I seem all over the place. I'm just trying to answer the questions as best I can, but also as quick as I can.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so biggest things, thunderstorm, thunder shirt, playing classical music that's not meant to be mellow, but helps drown out the noises. Totally lost a blank here. Giving them mental and physical enrichment before so that they're a lot more tired. Being in a small confined space, having their crate available to them, someplace where they can go and just relax and get away from it all. And then maybe even giving them a frozen peanut butter Kong, a food puzzle to work on to take their mind off of it, depending on the severity. Yep.
Well, thank you. And I know Whitney asked about the Zack George training videos and your thoughts about those. Are those great trainings online as well too?
Yeah. I haven't watched all of his videos just because I haven't had time. I know he's got a new dog that has some reactivity issues and things like that.
Yeah.
So he's been working through that. I think, like most of us as dog trainers, I think that he became a little humble while doing those videos because, you know, sometimes when you're a trainer, you like think you know it all, like, oh, I titled in agility and I like did this and I can solve separation anxiety. And then, but like, there's always something that's like your Achilles heel. And so I think he's been awesome at being like upfront and honest about like things that he's tried, where have his backslides and failures been. And so I just think he's an all around really great dog training personality to follow. I also really like Kiko Pup. Zack George and Kiko Pup are kind of the two big names in the positive dog training world. She does a lot of trick training. So if you guys are into trick training, that can be helpful too. It'll take your dog's mind off of their anxiety. My dogs, Olive and Theo, they like to spin and twirl and sit pretty. And my dog Theo walks between my legs, and that helps him. He is a little unnerved by other dogs. And so doing some trick training on the side of the path while another dog walks by, yes, it's management, but it helps keep his mind off of, oh gosh, is that dog going to look at me? Is he going to lunge at me? He's not reactive, but he still has anxious tics around other dogs.
And I know that just for anybody that's out there that I can't remember who the woman was that said they're going up to the grand dog, but Zack George has like a 30-day free video kind of training thing. It trains on everything. And they're great videos to watch with like the family. And so she was saying how she had like grandchildren or whatever and doing it as a family. I have a neighbor that has a new golden doodle and I just sit there and watch the videos with them so that the kids can then go use that to go and do with their dog. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff is too young for Sophie anymore, but I'm still trying to learn some different things like sit pretty, which is one of those new things that Sophie just doesn't get. And, oh, it's so bad.
They don't have like the abs yet. Like they
Well,
get a really
Sophie's 2.5, and so she technically does. I've tried to use a corner. She like won't go into the corner. She knows how to do it, and she sits up there, but then like will start falling back and doesn't stop herself.
Yeah, Theo was like that at first. He'd like overdo it and fall backwards. Yeah, they've kind of
like,
get that core strength. Yeah.
Whatever, I'll just fall over. No big deal.
But
Anyway.
family oriented trainers, definitely. Zack George is a good one. Kiko Pup's a good one. And then there's an organization called The Family Dog. And they've got some really cool training videos for the whole family too. They don't get as intensive with like barking and lunging or separation anxiety or things like that. But a lot of the Family Dog does a lot of like kids and dogs and how to interact and do training on a kid's level. So they're definitely good organizations as well. Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Did anybody here, I heard a couple of people that are therapy dogs.
Holden, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Megan did his Canine Good Citizen certification.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so I was really like, oh God, I hope he does it. But
he was a pro.
Yeah, so we did training, the Canine Good Citizen training at All Dogs Allowed, and it was amazing. And then he got certified there, and then we went on at UNC hospitals, which is my goal for him. They require pet partners. So
that's what I'm doing, and I've done everything except for the evaluation.
Okay.
And she, right before I had her scheduled and everything, and she broke her foot.
Oh,
and so then she was in a cast for a while, and then COVID hit. So now it's like been out, and now she's kind of reverted back on some things. Well, really just one thing. She just, when she first sees somebody that's not me, she jumps once, and that will obviously knock her out of that pet. That's my biggest fear, is just like, she is perfect every other time.
I thought that Holden would completely fail, but when we did it, at least with Holden, he like knew that he had to perform. So he'll do great. If you do, and I don't know when evaluations are going to be offered again, but when she passes, because I know she will, and if you do the UNC help, what is it, Tar Heel?
Yes.
Let me know. I'm trying to do that too with Holden. So let me know. We can try to go together. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she just I've got to get her to the children's hospital because she's obsessed with children. She doesn't lick adults. She only licks children. I know you're not supposed to lick, in hospitals, but she, she just shows like a different level of like care for babies and children, and so I know that she will be so great at it, except for just the one thing. And it's hard to teach her something and train her on something that she doesn't do with me.
Right.
Doesn't jump on me.
Very hard.
She doesn't care when I come home. Like, she's like, oh, you're home? Okay, great. Right. But it's just, and once somebody's in, once they see somebody and she's good, she'll lay down and just be like, okay, you can have your conversation. But it's hard to get her over just the first, it's like 10 seconds. And then that's it. So I don't know. But
it's just a lot of practice. That's the hardest part. My dog Theo, it was kind of the same way. He wouldn't jump on adults, but I think he had to have lived with kids. One thing I didn't tell you guys earlier, to try to keep my intro short and sweet, was I found out after we committed to keeping him, because he was being rehomed. I didn't know about the allergies. He was actually being rehomed because he wasn't getting along with the other dog in the house, because he was 1 year old. The other dog was 14 years old. He wasn't getting along. So I was nervous, I'm sorry if this makes me a bad person, but I can't keep two dogs in my house that are fighting each other. I just can't. Right. One of them will be rehomed. So I told them, I'm a dog trainer. We can work on it. I'm also in rescue. I can get him into rescue. And they were doing the same thing that I would have, not keeping him there were fights going on. Spoiler alert, obviously they're inseparable. But when I reached out to them a month later and said, yeah, we're committed to keeping him, we were basically making the adoption official, even though the person on Craigslist wasn't going to take him back or anything. That's when they said something along the lines of like, oh, I'm so glad someone's finally keeping him. We only had him for a month. And then I looked at his paperwork, his vet paperwork that I had looked at before. I looked at the addresses, and then I also reached out to his first owner who got him from his breeder. And she was able to switch like his AKC paperwork to me and everything. But come to find out, if you count his breeder, we were his 6th home in 1 year. And so I don't know, he had to have had some kids in his life, because when we see any, what I call like kid paraphernalia, like any kid stuff at all, like anything, it could be a scooter, a bike, a helmet, like a kid's toy, anything. If we're walking, he gets this like little like full body, like, oh my gosh, like this little like tremble, like there's a kid nearby. I know it. I know there's a child. And he loves kids, loves jumping on kids, being obsessed with kids. And so we've had to just, even pre-COVID, like go to Bond Park and have everybody scream, a fire dog, and, rush up to us and ask if they can pet politely and have him keep 4 feet on the ground and sit politely, and just having, finding people, which is tough right now, obviously, in the middle of a pandemic, but finding times where people can greet her and have her act appropriately is always good.
Yeah, it's so hard.
And when things get back to normal, I'd love to, and anyone else who is local to Chapel Hill-ish area, I'd love to get together and let them play and work on it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Sophie is, she's just starting to go back to daycare because I'm starting to go back into work. And like daycare had a big celebration because they missed her so badly.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I had a note about doggy daycare and stuff, and I totally forgot about that with when I talked about the dog walker stuff too. So sorry about that, guys. Those of you who are still here.
What we could do, Megan, is we could send a follow-up email with like the points that you went through, and we can add that in there. That'd be great.
Yeah, where it talks about the pet sitter too. And there's a couple blog posts that I can send you as well that are really good from even other trainers. Like I know Top Line Canine Solutions had a really good blog post on separation anxiety and stuff like that. So awesome. Well, I could talk about dog stuff all day. So I'm not going to verbal kidnap. I'm going to excuse myself from the conversation so I don't keep it going, and I can't get blamed by my boyfriend and myself.
We'll end here, and thank you. It was a pleasure seeing all of y'all, and we hope to see you at some events soon. And Megan, thank you. It's so good to see you.
You're so very welcome. Definitely.
All right.
Take care, you